Alright, what's up everyone? We are live. Alright, first, before we get into anything, we're going to go over the wild card round and take a look at what happened. Now, because I have other stuff in my life and just other reasons, I didn't really make picks for each of the 4 rounds. Hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Okay. I will say, though, even though I got the Reds-Dodgers series wrong, I'm glad I got that series wrong because the Reds posed a significant threat to not only to, I'd say, make the World Series or at least and even win it, and I'm glad they didn't. The numbers are right here. So I'm glad the Dodgers eliminated the Reds because the Reds were a threat. These were the stats entering the playoffs. I have the updated stats further down here. I said Cubs-Padres. I said Cubs in 3. That's exactly what happened. Entering the final game, the Padres outscored the Cubs 4-3, and I was thinking that the Cubs might win 1-0, so that they could the series score would be tied at 4, and their playoff record would be 4-4. In reference to Charlie Kirk. And remember, Charlie Kirk was killed on the same day that number 44, Anthony Rizzo, retired, and Anthony Rizzo actually began his major league career with the Padres. So that's that. They ended up winning 3-1, just like how they won the first game 3-1. Yeah, 45, Cubs 45. There were some more things. It was, Schilt got his 9th playoff win, but that was it. And Padres stayed on 25 playoff wins in 2025. And yeah, they finished the season with 74 losses. Go figure. Okay. We'll start off with Blue Jays Yankees. Now, Blue Jays have 94 wins on the season. Toronto ON is 97. They're 31-36 all time in the playoffs. New York equals 33. So that could be a sign that, well, I think they're going to win at least 2 games. The manager is 0-4 in the playoffs. Toronto is 36, so that's a good sign that they might win the series 3-2. And they're 8-5 against the Yankees this year. Toronto 117. 117 is a big number with Toronto. So if they won 3-2, they would be 11-7 against them on the year. On the Yankees side, New York Yankees equals 187, just like Society of Jesus. So that could be a sign that they'll only lose 2, but I think they will get at least 2 losses. Right now I am picking Blue Jays in 5, based on these 2 right here. I guess probably this one as well. I think they will get their 33rd playoff win in New York, so they'll probably split the first 2 in Toronto and then split the next 2 in New York, and then Blue Jays win the last one. However, there is a theme that I'm sensing that I talked about earlier, which I'll talk about in my next series, that makes me think that maybe there's a reason why I think the Yankees could face the Mariners in the ALCS. But I will talk about that in just a second. Hold on, I need to blow my nose, actually. Give me a second here. All right. I'm back. It's allergy season. Okay. Mariners and Tigers. I call this the Minoru Yamasaki series. Now, why do I call it that? Minoru Yamasaki was born in Seattle, died in Detroit. All right, let's look at Super Bowl 40. Super Bowl 40 was the first ever Super Bowl that the Seahawks, the team that used to share the building with the Mariners, and now they play right next door to the Mariners. This is the first ever Super Bowl that they were in. You can just here, just to prove to you it was their first. Seattle's first Super Bowl appearance, all right? Okay, so there was, you see, well, the score was 21-10, like 2-1-1. 2-1-1's the 47th prime. Seattle's on the 47th parallel. There were 31 combined points. Steelers is 31. Here. Steelers, 31. And what was the other thing? Oh, it was also like a lot like. Oh no, never mind. Oh yeah, but I guess the other thing I had to mention is 127 is the 31st prime. Of course, those were the main buildings that came down on 9/11. That's the date of Pearl Harbor. This guy, born in Seattle, died in Detroit. And also when you look up list of works by Minoru Yamasaki, the first one that comes up at the very top of the list is this one here, Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, Detroit Branch Building. So that's a lot of words, but basically what that means, I was a little confused by this too. The way, let's see if there's a, no, that's, hold on. So let's go to this page here. Yeah, basically there's a bunch of different Federal Reserve banks. Yeah, as you see here, there's a bunch of different Federal Reserve banks. Was there 11? Yeah. And then there's branches for each of them. So for example, this light green shaded area is the Chicago district, and there's a Detroit branch. So that it's kind of it's a big concept, but that's, anyways, the building. So the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, Detroit branch. The annex was designed by Minoru Yamasaki in 1951. 1951 annex. I remember 51, Seattle founded in exactly 100 years prior in 1851. Ichiro wore number 51. The first Japanese Major League Baseball player went 5-1 in MLB as a pitcher. And remember the let me just show you this, because I tweeted something earlier today in regards to this exact thing here, because this guy Rick Tittle, he does I don't know what exactly he does now, but he's a radio guy from the Bay Area where I'm from. He said he was interviewing Masanori Murakami today. And I said, yeah, ask him if he thinks it's a coincidence the first Japanese player in MLB played for San Francisco. That was this guy. The first Japanese player to win the All-Star Game MVP, Ichiro in 2007. I talked about that in my last live stream. That game was also in San Francisco. Then you had the Treaty of San Francisco, signed in 1951. Like how Ichiro wore number 51. Murakami went 5-1. A tribute to the, because remember, Bavarian Illuminati, 127, okay? 127, the 31st prime. Like how we were just talking about that. And Weishaupt, 51. Okay, back to this though. What was interesting about the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, that it's a branch of, it's 111 years old right now. And so it was established on May 18th, which is my birthday. Of course, I wasn't alive in 1914, but it's still my birthday. That's the day leaving 227 days left in the year, which is the 49th prime number. And the Mariners are in their 49th season right now. Let's just do, hold on. Just type in 227. 227, 49th prime. Again, Mariners, Wikipedia. 49th season. And then May 18th. 227 days left in the year. And I do find it interesting that there's the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago Detroit branch. So we'll remember what I said earlier about Chicago. Okay. But I've talked about that. Let's go back to the notes. Back to the notes. So yeah, we're just talking about 127. Game 1, which is tomorrow, October 4th, is going to be 1 month and 27 days before his birthday. And yeah, I talked about the Seahawks. Their first Super Bowl was in Detroit. That was Super Bowl 40. This is the year of the 121st World Series, which is the 40th semi-prime. Again, the Mariners have never been to the World Series. That Super Bowl was in Detroit. As I mentioned earlier, there are 31 combined points, and 127 is the 31st prime. And we just talked about 127. And I do imagine the Mariners will win Game 1. It's clear this series is a huge tribute to Minoru Yamasaki. And Detroit equals 91. Minoru Yamasaki equals 91. Yeah, we're talking about 111. Dan Wilson enters the playoffs with 111 wins as manager. Pearl Harbor equals 114. Of course, that event is associated with the Japanese. The potential end Game 4, October 8th. That'll be the 281st day of the year, which is the 60th prime number. Pearl Harbor equals 60. This year, the Mariners are 4-2 against the Tigers. Minoru Yamasaki died at age 73 in Detroit. So it would be fitting if they won Game 4 in Detroit to win the series 3-1. There's your 31. To become 7-3 against the Tigers for the year. And the Mariners all-time against the Tigers have 215 wins. If they got to 218, that's the 73rd semi-prime. Just to show you. What? I have to... Shoot, hold on. Here we go. List of semi-primes. What was the number again? It was 218. 218, 73rd semi-prime. There you go. Okay. We're back on the notes. Okay. From the Tigers' standpoint, as I said, Detroit and Minoru Yamasaki both equal 91. So that could be a sign they'll get 2 wins. But again, the main thing, Detroit equals 37. Yamasaki died on February 6th, which is the 37th day of the year. They're 2-4 against them on the year. However, Mariners and Seattle W equals 56. If they win 3-2, they'll be 5-6 against them for the year. I guess I should also point out that Detroit is 313 area code 65th prime. So that is a riddle for them to lose in 5 games. I'll give them that. But October 8th, that date that I was talking about, that is the day leaving 84 days left in the year. Tigers equals 84. I mean, they won the World Series in 84. So that could be a sign that that's the day they're season comes to an end. So yeah, as I said, I think Mariners in 4. But based on if this series is indeed a tribute to Minoru Yamasaki, like I am speculating, it would make a lot of sense if the Mariners played the Yankees in the ALCS, because of course Yamasaki's most famous design was the World Trade Center. Okay, the next one, Brewers versus Cubs, so moving over to the National League. You've got Craig Counsell versus the team they used to manage and play for. Brewers 97 wins on the year. Brewers does equal 99, but Milwaukee does equal 100, so it's a little bit of something they could go either way. Maybe they get 2 or 3 wins. But Chicago equals 35, and if they get 3 losses, they'll get their 35th playoff loss all time. Pat Murphy would fall to 3-5 if they lose in 5 games. Although there is a riddle for them to win in 5 games. Brewers equals 99. Brewers equals 99. So if it's tied 2-2, Brewers equals 99, that could play either way. Either they stay on 99 wins, or they become 9-9 against them on the year. From the Cubs standpoint, Milwaukee equals 37. That's the 12th prime. If Craig Counsell wins 3 in this series, he'll get his 12th playoff win. Yeah, the 99 could play against the Cubs too, but I'm thinking Cubs in 5. I'd have to look. Let me look at the series dates, because that's not. If I look at the series dates a bit more. So game 5 would be on October 11th. Is that 3 days before Charlie Kirk's birthday? Excuse me. Yeah, that is 3 days before Charlie Kirk's birthday. Not sure exactly what that means. Would be what? 30. It would be 31 days after he died at 31. Yeah, because he died on September 10th. Here, let me reshare my screen. Here. Game 5 would be 31 days after the death of Charlie Kirk. Again, both the Cubs wins in the playoffs were by the scores of 3-1. 3-1. 3-1, okay? Oh, and something about the Yankees that I didn't mention earlier. Let's look at the scores of their games. So 3-1, right? 3-4. So that's Red Sox 6, Yankees 5. No, maybe it wasn't that. I think I'm not looking at the right one. No, I'm getting confused with the. I think I'm confusing myself. Don't ignore what I just said. Okay, but yeah, that's. They could get. Yeah, 30. It would advance to the NLCS 31 days after Charlie Kirk died at age 31. That would make some sense. Okay, back to the NLDS. Phillies Dodgers. Dodgers equals 72. Phillies have 69 playoff wins right now, but Catholic equals 71. Remember the Pope, Pope Leo. He went to Villanova, and if they lose 3-2, they would be 71-71 all time in the playoffs. Remember, the Pope is the head of the Catholic Church. Yeah, Philadelphia equals 65. They're 4-2 against the Dodgers on the season. Philadelphia, PA equals 71, so it could be a sign Dodgers lose 2 games. But yeah, Catholic equals 145. Dodgers have 142 playoff wins. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania equals 125. Dodgers have 122 playoff wins since they moved to LA. And Philadelphia equals 61. Dave Roberts has 58 playoff wins. So I'm thinking Dodgers in 5 for that one. I forget, was the Pope's birthday September 14th? Pope Leo, yeah, September. So he just turned 70 years old. And right, so it would be 27 days after. Okay, let me switch the tab back over. Okay, so let's look at either from the distance that from the distance from his birthday or the distance from when he became Pope. So let's do the distance from when he became Pope first, and then that was until October 11th. 156 days, 222, so we know, yeah, 156, that big 9/11 number. I don't think there was any connection with 156. No, Dodgers have 152 playoff losses all time, so there's nothing 156 there. What about until the 1-year anniversary? Nothing there. 209, is that a semi? I feel like 209 is the 69th semi-prime. 68th semi-prime. Don't see any 68s in here. I mean, the Phillies have 68 playoff losses right now, but I guess they have 66 total losses. Let's look at from his birthday, which is September 14th. Yeah, 27 days, 3 weeks, 6 days. Is there anything with that? 36. Not that I see. Actually, I do want to see until his next. It's 339. Well, that's my 11 months, 3 days. Los Angeles CA 113. 339. Is that a semi-prime? Yes, 339 is the 109th semi-prime. Los Angeles equals. Los Angeles equals 109. So that's Remember last year the Dodgers won the World Series with their 109th win of the season, and they entered the playoffs with 109 wins since moving to LA last year. Okay. Yeah, my thought right now for that series. Has it switched back? Hang on. Just want to make sure that yeah, it looks like it switched back. Okay. Yeah, my thought right now for that series is the Dodgers win in 5. Yeah, so I guess I want to go over World Series potential matchups because I have revised this a little bit. Obviously, the Reds are eliminated, and the Reds were a threat, so I'm glad that they're eliminated. Mariners-Dodgers is a new potential World Series pick, in my opinion, because remember Minoru Yamasaki designed the Century Plaza Twin Towers, which are 44 stories tall. That symbolism was a big part of Ohtani's signing. Remember, I did a video on that. Ohtani signing with the Dodgers, because Shohei Ohtani, I think his name equals 193, the 44th prime. He hit 44 home runs his last year as an Angel. And then Seattle's got the 44 connection as well. So that's something to think about. I guess with Cubs Mariners, I can add on the what was it called? Chicago branch of... No, sorry, it's the Detroit branch of... I have to look at the name of that thing again. What was it called? Okay, that thing was called the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago Detroit Branch Building. That's a mouthful. But the annex, yeah, I guess you have to include annex. Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. I'll write that whole thing down. Federal Reserve. What was it? Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. Detroit branch. Building annex. Commonly called the Federal Reserve Building. Now let's put this whole thing in. I'm going to get some really big numbers in here. Is that a prime number? No. I don't think any of these are primes, but I'm sure one of these... sure one of these is a semi-prime. Let's see. 453. 140th. 237 is the 78th. I think Tigers is 78. 843. Okay, these are some wild numbers, but what did they say the short name was? Just the Federal Reserve Building. Hold on. UILD. Okay, I don't think there's really anything there, but the fact that the point is that it was constructed in 1951, and we all know all the Seattle 51 connections. Yeah, I'm reading the chat. Yeah, I do. Well, I don't know about the individual games. I do think the Dodgers will win the series, though. Okay, let's see. Was there anything else in my notes? I guess one more thing to back up about the Dodgers. In regards to the Dodgers, they did win. So they won the first game 10-5, right? So the Dodgers have 95 wins on the year. So they enter the playoffs with 93. So if they would need 106 to win the World Series, but again, 105. They won 105 games. No, they got their 105th win to clinch a spot in the World Series last year. Again, I forget which is it. Bavarian Illuminati. No, is it the Illuminati? No, is it just, no, it's not. Order of Illuminati, that's what it is. Order of Illuminati is 105. And again, that was the 120th World Series. Yeah, if you think the Phillies are losing tomorrow, I think that would make sense. But yeah, that's a thing with the Dodgers in 105. Let's see, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. I have to go to sleep early tonight because I have an occasion tomorrow morning that I have to get up for. So that's it for now, and I'll check in again at the end of the